Alright, it's August 12th, 2022, and I'm on the footbridge overpass over the tracks in Emeryville, California. The AMTRAK station is right there. Just walked over, about 13-minute walk from my hotel that's over that way, right on the bay. The elevator didn't work, so schlepped the bag up the stairs, not a big deal. Go down to the other end of the footbridge. That'll be easier. So the big Oakland rail yards are just down that way. And the train, I think, is kept down there overnight. Then it'll come back and come onto this siding, or whatever the proper railroad term is for it, and then it'll sit here along this stretch waiting for us, and then it'll proceed northwards, and the train is the California Zephyr, eastbound to Chicago. To the best of my knowledge, the only long-distance AMTRAK trains that use this station are the California Zephyr and the Coast Starlight, which originates in Los Angeles and goes up to Seattle, or according to some maps, to Vancouver, BC. I think that must be by extension, not by the actual train. And then maybe they run a bus or something from Seattle up to there. Anyway, it's about 8:30 in the morning, and I expect we'll be seeing the train here presently. The location of the Emeryville station in Emeryville, California, of course. It's just north of that street there, which is Powell Street or Powell Avenue, Powell. And it's about 3 blocks that way. Let me see if I can zoom in here. If you see that, those words, RDE, that's part of the word garden, the Hilton Garden Hotel, which is on the Emeryville Marina. And just this side of that is I-80 and I-580 running north and south. And then you've got about 3 blocks between there and here. So really just a few blocks in from the northeast corner of Powell and the East Bay interstates. Okay, it's 9:15 a.m. on August 12th, 2022, and the train number 6, the California Zephyr eastbound, is just departing Emeryville at 9:15 a.m. as I probably already said. Departure was supposed to be 9:10. I think it's the first time I remember in quite a long time where the train didn't leave exactly on time, but it actually only arrived at the station about 12 minutes before 9:10, so 8:58. And it just took a while to get everybody on board. So the weather is supposed to be good. I'm on the left side of the train in room number 10. The way the consist is set up, room number 10 is on the left of this particular car. And that means that going along the bay, I'll get more views of the water than I usually do.
Welcome aboard. You just joined us. Please remain in your seats until your tickets have been checked and you get a destination tag above your seat in the coaches. Conductor's coming by now to check tickets. And just be ready with your ticket, and we'll see you then.
I hadn't had time to even turn my scanner on yet. There we go.
Control point 0030.
Ah.
Time is 916. 0916. Company your buyers over. Good morning, Jim. Hey, well, I do the repack. Come on, I do it. Okay, we'll talk to you a little bit.
Following along with Interstate 580, I-580, and we can get a view of the, well, we could. You can just catch glimpses of the Golden Gate Bridge back there. Well, now stuff's in front of it. Coming into Richmond, California. This is the first stop. Okay, here's the San Francisco Bay, and there's San Francisco up here. There's where the Golden Gate Bridge is. Here's where the Oakland Bay Bridge is. There's Emeryville, where the California Zephyr starts, just about right at the top of that green bar that says 19AB. Just about there is where the station is. And the tracks continue to follow up past Richmond, and then it'll swing up around here and follow all the way around Martinez, and then it'll cross over by the Benecia Martinez Bridge and then continue up this way. At 9:25 we're leaving Richmond. I think I've got a Superliner car that, or roomette, probably the whole car, that's seen better days. It's got a lot of wear and crud. Just kind of beat up looking, but it should work just fine. But it's one of those that's in need of renovation, I think. There are things like the straps that hold the curtains shut are missing. So that'll be a bit of a problem. They'll keep wanting to fall in front of the windows, and I'll have to keep jamming them back into the cracks. I need to come through here with a giant vacuum and just clean all this garbage up. According to the GPS, we're doing 67 miles an hour at this point. And as usual, I've got my Uniden BC125AT scanner set to frequencies for the California Zephyr obtained off of the website AMTRAK online. And I have my automotive GPS, my Garmin here, so I can get some idea where we are and how fast we're going. Everything's plugged into the one outlet up there with my outlet strip, along with the power supply charger for my smartphone and the power for the scanner and the GPS, and my two battery chargers for my camera, since I burned through the batteries pretty quick taking all these videos. And as usual in these Superliner roomettes, I've got my backpack hanging from the coat hook up there, and my airline overhead size suitcase sitting up on the step next to the seat. At least the windows are fairly clean. They're getting some water that's running off the car. They may have washed these cars recently. This area here is, I think, part of, I can't quite read the map, but I think it says Point Pinole or Pinole Regional Park. And of course we have San Pablo Bay off to the left, but now we're curving around. So we're going to be getting into the Martinez Strait. I can't read the darn map. Tiny print. Yeah, the water off to the left is still part of San Pablo Bay, which is what they call the north end of San Francisco Bay for all practical purposes. We're not at the strait yet. See the front of the train curve around up there. That park we were going next to back there, there's a town right about where we are here called Pinole. I think that's the pronunciation, P-I-N-O-L-E.
authorized speed, and available passenger coachman equipment for all the zero. AMTRAK 11 East, that is a good readback. Over. Good, that's right, 30, here we go. Track number. Track number 6, call forming, please, and over.
We're just on the north side of the town of Rodeo. We're getting into a little more industrial area. We can see the Benecia we can see the Benecia Martinez bridge there in the distance, right about in the center of the screen. We'll be crossing that shortly. So the water off on our left is part of the Carquinez Strait. I have got to mess around with the squelch on my radio. I have not got that dialed in quite right yet. The more modern suspension bridge handles the southbound traffic of Interstate I-680, whereas the steel bridge handles the northbound traffic. I'm sorry, that's not the right bridge. That's not the Benecia Martinez bridge. That's the Alfred Zampa Memorial Bridge, which is carrying I-80. Same deal, though. An old bridge and a newer bridge carrying opposing directions of traffic. And here's a CNH pure cane sugar processing plant. So the strait is pretty narrow at this point, but it's deep enough to take ocean-going ships. The Suisun Bay, that's spelled S-U-I-S-U-N, is not too far ahead here, and it's one of the places where the Navy keeps a lot of the ships that they've got mothballed. I've been told by some railroaders and rail enthusiasts that the reason my scanner makes the noises that it does, that hissing and so on, and has to do with, apparently there's a digital component to the newer transmissions, and this radio doesn't know what to do with that, and that's the sound it makes. And I guess that might be the case, in which case I can't dial it out with the squelch. Line number 1, all track Martinez sub from Mile 31.25, 33.25. AMTRAK number 6, the AMTRAK 11 east, we pass the red flag, looking Mile 31.25 without stopping. Please don't listen our maximum authorized speed on the bells and listen fast approaching. Man equipment, we're all in the clear, and then no need to recontact for departure on previous instructions. Over. AMTRAK 11 east, that is all correct at the read back. We'll see you in a moment. Have a safe day. New York, I contract 3 go, track number 6 down. So we're coming down past Port Costa or Port Costa, and Martinez is not too far ahead. There in the distance is the Benecia Martinez Bridge. I'm also getting pretty low volume on the announcements or the radio messages, even though the scanner volume is turned way up. The signals are clear, but the volume is low. I don't know if that just has to do with the transmitter setup on this particular train or what. It's going to make it a little hard to hear some of the radio chatter. All right, at 9:49, we're pulling into Martinez, our second stop of the trip. I was a little worried about the power to my power strip because the socket on the seat over there is so loose that the cord almost wants to fall out of it. I had to sort of jimmy the cord back between the curtain and the seat to get some tension on it so that it wouldn't just fall out. Like I said, this car needs to be renovated. But my GPS battery is no good, and if it's not getting power, it'll let me know within seconds. So that's sort of my main indicator. The scanner has a couple of alkaline batteries in it, and that'll keep running even if the power kicks off, but the GPS will not. Martinez Station. So on the map, again, here's the San Francisco Bay, and we've come up around here, all the way up around here, along the edge of the strait. There's the name of it. And we're at Martinez now, right about here. And then we'll cross the Benecia Martinez Bridge and continue on up this direction, more or less following Interstate 680. And then looking at the larger map, we'll continue on up until we rejoin I-80 and more or less parallel that all the way up into Davis. Goes near Sacramento, and it goes up past Roseville, and then it goes up here and crosses the mountains, the Sierra Nevada mountains.
Ahead of 1 car and a half.
Conductor advised the engineer to pull ahead 1.5 cars. There's an old Southern Pacific locomotive over here. And a bit of a train, a boxcar and a caboose. This is one of the regional AMTRAK trains that operates in this area. It's not one of the long distance trains, but it still has dual level cars. It's all for commuters and just general regional transportation.
Track number 6. Let's highball. Track 531, highball. We're going to delay.
That must be 531 on our left. Both got permission to highball at the same time. We're starting to move forward. He's starting to move forward.
Attitude.
And I know I've mentioned it on other videos, but highball just means proceed to the maximum allowable speed limit given the section of track that the train is on. This guy's a little tired. He's gotten tired of waiting. I can hear the locomotive blowing its whistle. moving. Now we're moving.
Just join us in Martinez. Please stay in your seats. Just join us in Martinez. Please stay in your seats so the conductors come by. And check your ticket and you have the destination tag. I appreciate your cooperation with that. I'm coming by now. Once again, stay in your seat and just on Martinez so we can check in.
There's always these snafus with the announcements on the trains. I can hear over the general PA system in this train all the announcements for the coach cars, but I haven't heard any announcements yet for the sleeper cars, or my car in particular for that matter. Very quickly here we should be curving around to get onto the Benecia Martinez bridge. Can't seem to say Martinez today. Now the train starts curving northward to line up with the bridge. Some rather big ships out there in the distance.
Line 1, all tracks on the Martinez between milepost 25. 26.0 without stopping, maybe that's authorized speed. Clear over. CGTX 2003 West, AMTRAK 531, Foreman Clayton Gang R234. 81222, track 1486735, line 1, all tracks, Martinez subdivision, milepost 26.0 to milepost 25.75. CGTX 2003 West, we pass your red flag, milepost 26.0 without stopping. Proceed to your limits, maximum authorized speed, main track 1, whistles and bells approaching and passing met equipment, over. That is all correct, so repeat, I'll see you guys have a safe one out there. Track 531 copies, correct, thank you out.
So the bridges on either side of us here are carrying I-680. So we're sailing along here with I-680 on our left. And off to the right a ways, here's the interstate here. Here we are. And I think this is the Sacramento River over here. But it's just this very flat plain that characterizes the landscape pretty much all the way to Sacramento. Heaving and swaying of the train on this section of track.
And westbound, that's direct Odyssey, and no need to contact the interstate. Alright, we're highballing that station, no need to keep them bonded with that one. Direct to repair, go AMTRAK number 6000.
My book for this trip is When Giants Ruled the Sky by John E. How do you pronounce that anyway? Diogean? Guess that's Irish. I don't know. Anyway, it's a history of the large dirigibles that the U.S. Navy operated in the interwar years. Airships such as the Macon, the Akron, the Shenandoah, and their affiliations with the Zeppelin Company and the Goodyear Company. So far, it's a good read. Few of the sudden lurches on this track just throw me right against the window if I haven't braced myself. When sections of track get like that and they get a bit worse, that's the kind of thing that can cause a train to tip over. Whoever owns this section of rail really should do some remediation. This is the town of Fairfield, going through it at around 10:19. So just about an hour after leaving Emeryville. I should be on a pretty good side of the train here for a lot of the mountain crossings, but not the ascent of the Rockies, I think. For that, I'm kind of on the wrong side, so I might want to go to the lounge car for that part. But for the descent of the Rockies, in other words, they part from up around the Moffett Tunnel and so on, going down to Denver, I'm on the correct side of the car to be on. That'll be the north-facing side, so the best views are there. It's really going up the Colorado River Canyon. That action will be on the right side of the train, so I'll have to reposition, and I'm on a good side for the Sierra Nevada crossing as well, so I shouldn't have to spend as much time in the lounge as I usually do on this route. I lucked out, I think. This is near the town of Elmira, or Elmira, maybe. Agricultural area. At 10:30, we've made it up here. Boy, it's hard to hold my camera steady with this bouncing track. Up to Dixon here in the middle. So coming up close to Sacramento. Dixon. Bounce, bounce, bounce.
Patcher 257 UP 8815.
Pretty bad snap rolls here. Anybody standing is going to get flung around with that nonsense going on. Yeah, it's 10:36. We're coming up on Davis, California. There we are, Davis. Where the University of California, Davis is located. in Davis now. Davis Station. Looks like an attractive station, kind of a park-like atmosphere. Good for them for doing that. Pulling out of Davis at 10:44. We're in Sacramento, and I'm not absolutely positive, but this might be the Sacramento River. Looks like the station is just up ahead. It'll be on the right, though we won't see it. But I remember that this old set of buildings on the left is the old Sacramento Locomotive Works. Southern Pacific. Another, this is the Caltrans train, but again it's pulling cars that are very similar to the Superliners. Although again outfitted more for commuter operation. That building is called the Rail Yards. Sacramento at 11:01 a.m. Just a quick look around the roomette here. Got the door out into the aisle with privacy curtains. The mirror. The steps to the upper bunk, which I just use for storage. Have my roller suitcase, which is the size that is intended to fit on an overhead storage bin on an airline. That fits up there very nicely, gives me enough room for my book, rest my camera on when I'm not using it. Some other junk down there. AMTRAK provides a box of Kleenex. The seat that I'm sitting on, complete with PA system controls that, as far as I can tell in this car, aren't producing any sounds. My reading light, my attended call button, and with this switch you can turn on the blue night light or the ceiling light, or have it off.
AMTRAK 11, fire procedure X-ray call at milepost 110.17, all track local.
Just enough room for me to store my...
And I got a couple Form Bs, which I'm not sure if you have or not.
Again, all these announcements that we're hearing are all for the coach cars. I don't know why they put them in the sleepers.
Load here, but
also those are your transfers and your return tickets.
Anyway, got all my junk along the window, as already mentioned.
7341 over.
There's two pillows there that are provided. I have my dark sweater thrown over them so they don't produce so much glare on the window for looking out. And of course the overhead bunk is folded up there, and my backpack hanging up there, and there's the closet over here with a couple of small towels up there, but I think the real shower towels are to be found in the shower room. And then there's the little trash container down there. And of course the opposing seat has the temperature control and the one and only AC outlet, and then it has its own reading light. Most of the time when I'm in my room, I put my feet up on the opposing seat, and that gives me a ledge to set my map on, or my book. I don't usually use the fold-out table for anything. I'm kind of amazed we're into this trip, you know, a couple hours now, and other than when I was boarding the car, I have not seen my sleeper car attendant. Usually, I think always in my past experience, they come around to introduce themselves long before this. I don't know where the guy is. And usually by this time I will have seen somebody from the dining car come by and taking meal reservations. That has not happened, nor has the conductor come by to check tickets. Those are things that usually all happen very quickly, but so far on this trip, none of them have. Kind of wondering how they're going to do this. Okay, I've heard the whistle, and we are starting to roll out of Sacramento at 11:11 a.m. Checking the map, I was able to confirm that the river we crossed coming into Sacramento was in fact the Sacramento River. And just off to the left by where the trees are out there is the American River. Curving around to the north here. Looks like we're going to be crossing the American River here in a little bit. I think that was the business route for I-80. Yeah, that's what it is. And just after these trees, we should be crossing the American River. I think we're following a freight train. When we turned the corner back there, it looked like there was a freight train crossing that same bridge. Maybe that's why we're poking along here. Coming up on California Highway 160. Still in the greater Sacramento area, but not in Sacramento. We're paralleling I-80, which is just off to the right of the train a few blocks, maybe a half a mile away. I missed it, but there was a whole area of homeless, a large homeless encampment, if you will. We're actually in between the towns of Foothill Farms off to the left and Citrus Heights off to the right. It's probably not picking up on the camera, but we can see the foothills of the Sierra Nevada mountains off on the horizon there. At 11:34, we just pulled into Roseville. And Roseville is up here on the northeast side of Sacramento, the greater Sacramento area, that is. Shortly, we should be getting up into the mountains following I-80. Just heard the whistle. 11:36, pulling out of Roseville. Somebody lost their shoe up there. Kind of like a railroad observation platform back there. And there's a historic Roseville water tank. Alright, at 11:58 we're already up into the foothills of the Sierra Nevada. There's another rail line just up there. Just up past those trees. And we're near the town of Newcastle. I'm having some trouble getting into the dining car. It's really kind of messed up. They aren't taking reservations, and even though the dining car is not full, they won't seat me. They say, well, we'll take your name and we'll call you on the PA system, but the PA system is not working in this car, at least unless it's an announcement from the coach cars. I've tried to get my room attendant to come by and address that situation. I can't find him. He hasn't answered the call, so that's all kind of disappointing. Luckily, the dining car is immediately behind my room, just behind me where I'm sitting here, so it's very quick to get there, and I'll just have to make periodic checks. Here are those other tracks coming in to merge. .12:05 and still crawling our way up into the mountains. My room attendant did show up finally to my call button, and he messed around with the PA system and said, well, this car is over 40 years old and it needs to be renovated. So he's supposed to be setting it up with the dining car so they actually come get me when they've got a vacancy.
Change through the MRVFR of the 12th with the UP 1979 as the leader, and I'm assuming you're just wanting to come out antelope here? high and then just drag it to Orville. I can amend your van order to meet you at Orville as well.
Around 12:11, we're going through the Auburn area. Crossing under I-80.
AEI showing a T-Box 889374 over. Okay. And can you tell me what line 30 is, over? Correct, over.
We're up in the vicinity of North Auburn.
Correct.
Cars calling Burns. Party 2. Your table's now ready to die.
There's a parallel track running just off to the left and somewhat downhill from us that goes through tunnels while we go through cuts. Sometimes it merges with us, but most of the time it's a separate track. There, it's just come out in that other cut down there. And now we're crossing. The other one's crossing under the tracks we're on. Just going into the town of Applegate here, and that's I-80 on the left.
Echo's calling Paul, Portal 1. Paul, Portal 1, the cable now ready, Paul.
That's me.
Yeah, I got 2 questions.
I haven't started myself.